Okay, welcome to part 6, and I'm going to be doing the fins on this one. So I've got a pair of pectoral fins that came from a smallmouth bass project, and they're going to be perfect for the size I need for this. So these are pretty much the rough cutout, they're already done. So I've got my blocks here that I'm going to cut the dorsal and spiny dorsal and the soft dorsal out on, and then the and then the anal fin. I've got some smaller ones, and I don't remember, I think these might have been off of a trout project, but I think they're a little too small. I was thinking about using them for the pelvic fins, but I think they're going to be a little too small, so I'll probably have to end up cutting one more block. But I did this time make sure I paid attention to the grain. So on the last project, I didn't, and it was kind of iffy on the crappie. So, but they're fine. They're going to be fine. I've reinforced them with some super glue, and they're good. They're pretty solid, so I'm not worried about them. But anyway, I'm going to get started drawing these out, and then we'll move in to get them cut out on the bandsaw. I appreciate y'all watching on this. If you haven't, please subscribe, and be sure and hit that thumbs up for me. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them for me in the comment section below. So I'm going to turn the camera around and get started on this, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, so I'm going to draw these on here. This is the anal fin. And this will be the tab. So, alright, so this will be the soft dorsal. He don't pull as much with that, does he?
No, he still pulls, but not near as much.
Alright, there's the soft ray dorsal. And let's get the spiny dorsal here. I'll cut them straight like this, but they will get a little bit of a curve in them when I carve them. But it's just easier to cut them like that on the bandsaw than trying to follow that around. I end up messing it up if I try to follow it around, so I found it's easier just to cut straight and then carve off the excess. So these are already cut, but I'll just have to trim them off just a tiny little bit on the ends. So I'll take these and get them on the bandsaw and get them cut out and start carving. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm drawing the center line down the block. This is going to be the soft dorsal, and I've drawn in the animation or the movement I want, and I'm drawing the center line for that animation, and I'm just going back over and I'm drawing on my carving whips that I'll start carving from, because I want it to be a quarter of an inch or so wide at the bottom, maybe not quite, 3/16, and then I'll thin it at the top to give it that appearance of a thin fin. So I want it to be a little bit wider at the base so it'll have strength, and then I'll thin it at the top, and that'll give it the appearance of a thin fin. But I'll carve it to these outside lines first and then start tapering it down. And then after I get it carved down, then I'll start drawing on the details. It's raining out today, so it's going to be noisy under this roof. If I can stay awake with this sound. Growing up here, the old house that we lived in, standing here where my mobile home is now, the old house we lived in had a metal roof, and man, you get used to sleeping in that. It's like a lullaby. Okay, so all those are drawn on. I got the pectoral fins drying in the oven because I left them out on the bench outside and they got rained on. So I'm gonna go get those. I don't want to take that much thinner than that because I still got to bring the spines to a point. So I'm gonna leave that there and start on the dorsal here, soft dorsal. This is the bit that I will cut the grooves in the back of the fish on. So I need to get this base down to about the width of this. And I'm just going to get close for right now until I get the top, everything done. And then I'll start shaping that bottom end to fit the width of this. So this is, and I'll show you again as I get closer, but the depth will be from the outside edge of the disc bit here to the shaft. That'll be the depth of the hole for the slot, and then the width of it will be the width of the bit itself. So for right now it's a little wide. I'm going to leave it wide for right now until I get this finished. I wish I had this bit in a ball shape, or at least a flame burr shape. I gotta make an order here pretty soon. I keep thinking of bits that I have that would work better, and I try to make a mental note, and so I need to buy one or several. Because a ball, or at least a flame burr, would be much better in these dips and valleys. I'm gonna go ahead and take the edge of it down to its final width, and then and start taking down a little bit off the sides. So it's just still just a little too thick down here, but once I establish the width here, then I can taper down. I still want some width down here to give it strength. And I'm not going paper thin on the edge. It may be a 1/16 of an inch or so, because when I start carving the ray detail in, that'll thin the edge even more. So I'm leaving just a little bit, maybe a pencil lead width, 1/16 of an inch or so wide there. 1/32 of an inch maybe. I had to go get me a jacket on. It was starting to chill off a little bit with this rain. I was getting a little chilly. But there is the final shape with the soft dorsal, and I'll draw on the ray detail and start carving that in. I think I'm gonna go ahead and shape everything down before I actually start doing the ray detail. So I'm going to go ahead and start shaping the anal fin down. I did switch over to this steel rounded ball. This is a steel milling bit, but it works great on wood. and it actually leaves a pretty smooth finish. But I was afraid that it would grab too much, but since I got the grain right on this one this time, I'm cutting with the grain, so it's a pretty smooth cut. And with being curved, it allows me to get down into these little undulating motions on here better than that safe edge coarse bit. What I'm doing now is I'm taking the edges down thinner. It's still 1/8 of an inch or so thick or more in the middle, but doing the edges thin gives it the whole fin the appearance, the illusion of being thin as you can for wood anyway. Okay, there's the pectoral fins, and you can see the movement that I got in them. And going to start on the pelvic fins here. Again, I really need a round version of this cut saw. Yeah, there's some big chips flying off here. I need something a little bit more. Just bouncing around my regular eyeglasses, so it's a little more protective. That's all I need to get something in my eye, and I can't see how to finish it. The only drawback to leaving the tail on is when you got I mean, the wood is light, but when you got this much weight out on the end and you're holding it like this, your hand gets a little tired. So I'm gonna rest this on the table, see if that helps. Okay, I've got the pattern drawn on some of these, and I'm just using this little round steel carbide burr to start cutting in the detail. All right, there's the spiny dorsal. This went through with a diamond ball, just kind of smoothed out in between the spines, and then take a handy dandy little deburring tool here, and just give it a little once over polish. And to kind of help round everything off a little bit. Do it both ways. Now I carved down into where the line where it'll go into the fish. It'll be about right there. Because this will be the tab or the slot. So this will get put into the fish here. Alright, I'm going to start on the tail here. I think I had that one thin spot. I hope I can work around without blowing through. I think it's going to be close. It's right there. I think if I'm careful, it'll be fine. Alright, that's all the fins. Anal fin, soft dorsal, spiny dorsal, pelvic fin, and then pectoral fin. So I guess what I have next is going to be drilling the holes or cutting the holes and then mounting the fins. But I think I may burn the scales before I do that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna burn the scales before I mount the fins. I'll burn the scales and then put the fins, mount the fins. That way I can seal it, and then blend the fins in with epoxy putty. And I also need to detail the inside of the mouth and glue the lower jaw back on. I probably need to do, that's what I'm gonna do first. Tomorrow I'm going to finish detailing the inside of the mouth. There's some places here where, pencil out here we can see. There's some places here where the gills attach to the upper roof of the mouth. And I'm going to use some epoxy putty and kind of hide those, or make it seamless. The same with the lower jaw where they attach. I need to make, because you can see the seams on it, so I need to cut that off. I mean, I hide that. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Paint and fix the gills, and then attach the lower jaw. And I probably will have time to go ahead and start burning scales. I did have a blowout right here. It got too thin and I blew through the fin there. I think what I can do is, I don't know, I think I can just fill it with a little bit of epoxy and let it set, and then lightly grind over the epoxy after it cures, and that'll fill the hole. And then once I paint over it, you won't be able to see it. Yeah, let's do that. There you go. Now you can see it good. Just wasn't paying attention and got too thin there, and I called myself making sure, and I just got carried away, and next thing you know, it's blowing through. So I can, like I say, I think I can fix that just by putting a little bit of epoxy on there. And I think it's a small enough hole that it'll hold it. And then once the epoxy cures, I can just do a light little sand on it. It should be fine. So that's going to do it for part 5. I've got all the fins done. There's the anal fin and the pectoral fins. And like I said, if y'all haven't seen this before, I leave these together on this one piece because it's easier to hold and carve when they're together. And then when I get close to putting them on, then I cut them in half and fix the tabs. Same with the pelvic fins. Looks like a little bow tie. So where is my, there it is. So here's the spiny and the soft dorsal. I made them, they're just a tad bit too big, and so is the anal fin. But I cut them down a little bit. I trimmed them down a little bit, and I think it's going to be fine. I'd rather for them to be a little too big than too small. So, but anyway, I'm glad to have that out of the way. It's coming along. I'm probably not where I want to be. Still have to burn scales, mount the fins, mount the eyes, fix the inside of the mouth, and then give it a good seal, prime it, and paint it. So I might be on track to have this finished this weekend. If nothing else happens. I feel like I'm getting sick. Nose has been running all day, and it might just be that it's been kind of cold out here today. It was raining this morning, but anyway, I'm rambling. So part 6, I'm going to work on the inside of the mouth, get that straightened out, attach the lower jaw. I'm going to do that with Bondo, and then burn scales. I think I can do that all in one video without running over too long. So, but I appreciate y'all watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, as always, please leave them for me in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And again, I apologize for these being so lacking in content on these first few videos, or especially the last 2, because it's just so hard to get in and show that stuff while you're doing it. I probably could have showed a little bit more, but those gills had me had me pulling my hair out, getting them to fit. So and I probably could have showed some of that, but I don't think you would have got anything out of it other than watching me get frustrated. So I think I'm gonna leave that out. So but anyway, I'll see y'all on part 6. Yeah, so later.